Cool. Well, thanks for being here, Bob. We were talking a little bit before this about health coaching. So tell us a little bit about your background as a health coach and like what you do.
Yeah, man, for sure. So 6 years ago, I was in a place where my health wasn't ideal, and I got to a place where I was 265 pounds, 5'9" at the age of 44, just not feeling. I was just not feeling great. Like I knew that I needed to do something different, but I wasn't sure what. Right.
Yeah.
And I live a life of where I grew up playing soccer all my life. I love snow skiing. I've skied since I was 3 years old.
Yeah.
Fly fish, snowmobile.
I saw that. I like your sweater.
Right.
Yeah, I love it.
I just like being out and doing things, and my personality is yellow. So like wherever the party's at, that's where I'm at, bro. Like
right
I'm all for the fun.
Yeah.
And so, when my health was to the point where it needed to make some changes, the tilting point of that, the breaking point of that was I was actually snow skiing with my son. It was December, and we were up at Snow Basin. And like I said, I've skied my whole life, right? And so I'm skiing the tree lines, and I'm with my son, and he's in high school and with his buddies, and I'm the cool dad,
yeah.
And skiing down with the powder and the snow. And at 265 pounds on a pair of skis, you're the Goodyear blimp.
Yeah, right.
And so when I was skiing down the tree lines, I fell down into the trunk of the tree. And I don't know if you've ever skied before,
no.
But when you're down in the snow like that, you're getting all the snow piled on you, and it's hard to get out. So
yeah.
I undo my skis, and at 265 pounds, I'm already breathing heavy already, and I'm trying to just pull myself out of the snow. And I look up at my son, and I could see the embarrassment in his eyes of my dad's down in this hole, and it's going to take all of his buddies and him to pull me out.
Oh,
and so by the time I got out, I put my skis back on, and I started skiing down, and I was having a hard time breathing. And
wow.
So on the ski lift going back up, I was able to retain myself and get going again. But at that point, I was like, you know what? I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I needed to make a change. And so, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to make changes because I didn't understand nutrition. I didn't understand, how to fuel my body properly. I was the guy that was the seafood dieter. If I saw it, I ate it, right?
Yeah.
And that was me. And so I needed a program that would allow me to just follow it with simplicity, without having to count my calories, without having to understand how to pair your proteins to your carbs. I didn't understand any of that. So I needed a simple program. Well, back up a few years before my event with skiing, my mom, before she passed away, she's been gone for 9 years. She actually, her body went septic, and 2 days later she was gone. But she had fought obesity her whole life. She always teased that she was born a Goodyear blimp, and one of her sayings that she would always say is, "You better be nice, or I'm going to sit on you," because she was a bigger lady, right? And that's how she disciplined. But living my life in a home where you create unhealthy habits. We lived off of tater tot casseroles.
Oh yeah.
All those kind of foods, right?
Yeah.
Also the country fried gravy and
for sure.
all that kind of stuff, right? So
yeah.
that's the way we lived, and so anyway, so Mom had gone through all the different so-called these diets, right? I don't even know if I'm allowed to say some of them,
right?
But the WW, right? The Weight Watchers, some of those others, and and all these different things that she's done. I, as a kid, watched my mom contend with her health. And I, for me, growing up, playing soccer, wrestling, in fact, 9th grade, dude, I was 98 pounds.
Wow.
I wrestled 98 pounds
wow.
in 9th grade. And so I wasn't the big guy. I was the little guy.
Yeah.
I was called the small fry on the soccer team.
Wow.
And so, although I was eating unhealthy because my metabolism was completely different, I was a skinny guy. I was small. Well, when I got to the point where I got married and all that, you start packing on weight, right? Life happens. Well, so Mom, before she passed away, she found this program, and she lost 125 pounds before she passed away. And on my mom's deathbed, I promised my mom that I'd make sure that I would, take care of myself so that I could be around for my kids and my wife and help them understand, that health is important.
Yeah.
And, a year after Mom passed away, I wasn't living to that expectation, that promise that I had made to my mom. And so falling into that tree hole, sitting on the ski chair, those thoughts started coming in my mind. Was like, you know what? I made a promise to my mom and to my kids and my wife, and I wasn't fulfilling that promise.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, you're sitting on social media, which, by the way, social media, it is awesome if you connect the right way, if you utilize social media the right way.
Right. Yes.
You and we connected on social media somehow.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure how, but here we are in front of each other doing a podcast.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, anyway, so when I was watching on social media, a friend of mine was posting some, before and after pictures. Some pictures of her getting healthy, and some of her friends are getting healthy. And of course, in my mind, I'm going, all right, what is this scam? What is this?
Right.
Another one of those.
Yeah, like Photoshop.
Right? What is this?
Yeah.
And because I trusted her, I reached out to her. And how we got connected with her and I have a hardware business. I actually have another business where we supply and install doorknobs and bath accessories for builders.
Okay.
And so I was at a B&I group meeting, and I sat next to her, and that's how we got connected on social media. Well, so when I reached out to her, because I had that trust, I reached out to her and I said, all right, what is this? What is it that you're doing? And she says, well, let me line up a call with you, and I'll explain everything to you. And, if it's a fit for you, great. If not, no worry.
Right.
Right. And I like that mentality. I like that approach, because I didn't feel like she was attacking me. I didn't feel like she was like, well, this is what you got to do, and this is it. And this, I didn't feel that way. Right. So it was pretty cool. So I was like, all right, yeah, let's set up a call. So I did a call with her, and she went through like a little health assessment, just some questions, explained the program, and really how simple the program, is. I was like, you know what? Right now, I'm cool. I've got this, because my ego is in the way, right?
Right.
Even though the program was simple, and I watched my mom do it before she passed away, my ego was in the way. And now that I've been coaching for a while, I understand that ego is basically, you're edging God out.
Yeah.
And my ego was in the way, and so I was like, you know what? I can do this on my own. I'm good.
Yeah.
So for about a month, I tried to do it on my own. And let me tell you, because I'm that seafood dieter.
Yeah.
Trying to do it out of a grocery store was very, very hard. It was tough. And so she, she's following me on social media.
Yeah.
So she reaches back, because that's what she does.
Yeah.
She reached back out to me, and she asked, hey, how are you doing? I said, well, not doing so great.
Right.
And so we got talking some more, and I said, you know what? Let's just do this. Let's do this. I'm done. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Let's do this. So I got on the program, and in 5.5 months, I lost 80 pounds.
Wow.
And I have to say results aren't typical, but they definitely are possible.
Yeah.
Because I live it, right?
Yeah.
And so through the process of me losing my weight, people started asking me what I was doing.
Yeah.
I became a walking billboard. People weren't recognizing me as I was going through the grocery stores. People walk by me and say, Bobby Butler. And I would know that was somebody from the past, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
From the school days, because that was Bobby Butler.
Right on.
Right? And so, you know, people just started asking what I was doing, and one thing led to another. I started explaining how simple the program was and how we work on balance our sugar levels and how we eat every 2.5 to 3 hours, you know, 6 times a day.
Yeah.
And how we can really understand how to fuel our body properly. People started coming on board one after another, and then the referrals started coming in because the program works.
Yeah.
It's not something out there that you're throwing a diet pill or motion potions or what, you know, it's just none of that.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just understanding proper nutrition. And so, you know, one thing leads to another, and now I've been coaching for 6 years, and I've got clients all over the United States, and it's just been an awesome, fun experience to serve and help people.
Yeah, holy cow. Well, that's an amazing story. And that's why I like bringing on business owners, you know, because you get to hear those raw stories that like you get to find out why somebody does what they do. And I love that. So you were talking earlier about, you know, some of the nutrition things you didn't know about earlier. Mm-hmm. And that, I feel like that's almost like pretty prevalent in our culture and society. Like a lot of people just don't know what they don't know. You know what I mean? Especially when it comes to things like nutrition.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think there's such a lack of knowledge in nutrition?
No, for sure. Because here's okay, this is just
me,
right?
Go ahead.
But everybody wants the instant gratification.
Yeah.
If you think about it, everything is at our fingertips. Everything. And so we have Google, we have social media, we have all these sources that we can get instant gratification just like that. Where back when we were kids, right? If we wanted to go play with somebody, we'd have to pick up a phone and hope that they answered the phone, right?
Yeah.
Or we'd go knock on their door,
right?
And ask them to play. And then when we go play, we're outside and we're doing things.
Yeah.
Where nowadays, everything's at their fingertips.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, for me, my thought is people are just becoming more sedentary and not doing as much movement as it was when we were kids.
Yeah.
But as far as the nutrition goes, I think because of the instant gratification, people are making it simple where they're just driving through the drive-thru, ordering the hamburgers, the tacos, all these things because it's instant and it's cheap, right?
Yeah, that's always blown my mind, man. That like healthy food is more expensive than cheap food.
And what I found out though is it's not.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, tell me more. Because like I've always that's and maybe that's one thing where I don't know what I don't know. So go ahead.
Yeah. So what I didn't understand was how much money I was actually spending a day on food for myself. Because that was one of the things when my coach asked me, how much money do you spend a day on food for yourself? And I'm eating like garbage, dude. So I started adding it up. I was spending $25 a day on food for myself.
Wow.
But it was Starbucks.
Yeah.
It was Maverick, those Cinnabon things.
Yeah, yeah.
It was Burger King. Because in my construction business, I'm going from one end of the valley to the next.
Right.
So everything is instant gratification. I'm just going through the drive-thrus and getting what I need to so that I can get on to my next job.
Yeah.
Right? So I didn't understand that I was spending so much money on food that was just junk.
Right.
When I started adding that up, and then I started adding up how much it cost to eat healthy, I was blown away. I was like, okay, all it is just a shift.
Yeah.
All I need is just a shift.
And to see those numbers sometimes.
Right, right. And then once you have that shift, now you can start setting your intention of what you want to create. Because now it's like all coming together with, I can eat healthy. I can afford it.
Yeah,
it's just a matter of instead of ordering a pizza, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I can make a pizza grilled chicken
Yeah.
pizza.
Yeah.
Like the ground chicken.
Yeah, man.
You can ground chicken it and flatten it out, and that becomes your crust. Then you're adding all your toppings on top of the on top of the ground chicken, and now you have your pizza. It's much healthier for you. It costs about the same as what you would get at Zappone's, right?
Right.
But it's much healthier for you. And so it's just a matter of your mindset shifting that, understanding that you can afford it. But I didn't understand all that.
Yeah, well, and that
right?
kind of goes back to the question that I asked earlier, right? Of like, a lot of people just don't know that stuff.
People just don't know.
And they just don't realize.
What we know.
Yeah.
Right?
Man. Yeah. And so how do those conversations go with clients?
Yeah. So, when I talk with people and explain, everything to them, the thing that's cool is when I was growing up, when I was in high school, when you're starting to think about what it is you want to do for a career, right? Because they start getting your wheels spinning.
Right.
One of the things that I wanted to do is I wanted to become a therapist.
Yeah.
I never even went that path. I worked construction. As soon as I graduated from high school, I started, construction. And now that I'm a coach, not that I'm a therapist. I'm not going to claim that I'm a therapist.
Yeah.
But here's the truth. When you're talking about health and you're talking with people, everybody has these walls, right? Everybody has a wall. And it takes a little bit of work to talk with people to break down those walls, right? But once you break down those walls and you step into their world and you really find out what their desires are and what their why is and what they want to create, now we can start setting an intention. We can start setting goals. We can move forward, and then we can start doing the work. And so that's what's cool about this is not that I'm a therapist, but my gosh.
Yeah, but you get to talk to people, right? And you get to mentor people.
I get to mentor people. I get to talk with people, and people just don't. There's a lot of people, especially right now with this pandemic going on, there's a lot of people that are wanting more, but they just don't know where to go.
Right. Well, how long have you been doing this?
I've been coaching for almost 6 years.
For that long. Yeah, I was going to say, man, the pandemic really probably changed a lot and for people. Well, it did change a lot for people, but especially in this section, I feel like, right, in this health industry, because I've had a few health people on here, and I love it every time someone who's a health coach comes on, because it's just something new every time. And one thing that I notice is like business is always good for them, right? Yeah. Because people realize, realize, like, when you're sitting at home during a pandemic in quarantine, you're like, man, I got to really be healthy. Like, I can't keep doing the same things I'm doing. And because activity goes down, and so, but people still eat the same or whatever, right? And they just don't know. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, and Dalton, let me say this, man. Just because I'm a health coach doesn't mean I contend with my own health.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And that's what's also cool about this is because I've walked the path. I know what it's like. Yeah. And I contend with my health every single day. This doesn't go away. The diet mentality has got to go right out the door because we're not doing diets, right? We have to do something to where it is sustainable and it's lifestyle. Yeah. Right? Yep. Because so many people that I talk to, they have this diet mentality of, well, when I lose this much weight, when I lose this much weight, and I'm going, okay, great, that's awesome. Right. But once you lose that weight, what's next?
Yeah, you got to keep going.
What's next? Yeah. And I'm constantly helping people awaken to what's next. Yeah, yeah. Right? Because if I don't, they don't understand, because they have this diet mentality that, and by the way, a diet ends.
Yeah, right? Diets die.
Diets die. Yeah. You've heard that. So I'm always asking, okay, guys, what next? When we reach this goal, once we hit that, what's next? What's your next goal? Yeah. Well,
because you can't, like you said, it has to be a lifestyle, and the things you do before you hit the weight are the things that you have to do after you hit the weight, because it can all just come back, right? If you don't keep doing the same things to sustain it. Yeah,
for sure. And so that's where I was going with this, because I'm a health coach, right? Been doing this for 6 years. I'll be authentic. I'll be real. You gain weight back if you don't understand the mindset and work with that 5.5 inches between the ears.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where the most important part is understanding, working with the mindset. I don't know if you probably saw some of my social media stuff this morning. I started on a spin bike because I know that's my next step is a workout. And oh my gosh, by the way, workout is just not me, but I know that's my next step is to really start working out some more.
Yeah.
Because by the way, 5.5 months it took me to lose 80 pounds, not one foot in the gym.
Oh, wow.
It was just all proper nutrition.
Yeah, just nutrition.
Right?
Yeah, and you know what? That's what a lot of people don't realize too, is like a lot of like getting healthy is just like what you eat.
For sure.
What I mean? And then you can start exercising a little bit here and there. And
they say you grow abs in the kitchen.
Oh, yeah, you totally do.
That's what I hear.
Yeah, you totally do. No, I know that for sure. You definitely have to. Yeah. You can do a lot of core work, but abs are growing in the kitchen.
And people that keep saying to me, well, I work out a lot. Okay, awesome. But you can't outrun your fork.
Right, that's right.
Right?
Yeah, that's right, man. Holy cow. That's crazy. So you do the health coach and then you have another business. So you got 2 of them?
Yes.
Total?
Yeah. So I, when you're an entrepreneur mindset,
you go a million miles an hour, man.
You do, man. and the squirrels in my cage, bro, they just don't slow down.
That's awesome, though.
Yeah. So I have a hardware business. We've been doing, the name of that company is Elite Hardware. We're just right up the road here in North Salt Lake.
Oh, cool.
But we've been in business for 15 years. We supply and install doorknobs and bath accessories for builders. And, that business has been good. But the reality is it's good until it's not good.
Yeah,
because the construction business is such a roller coaster ride. So that leads to some more story.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. I like it.
Stories change lives. It really does. So back before I started my business with construction, I was working for another construction business. I was a sales rep for them. And we were selling glass and shower doors and doorknobs. I won't mention the name.
Okay.
But it came down to the point where I knew back then I needed to make another change, right? Because there's always seasons. There's always a season and there's always change. And I wanted to have my own business. Well, my dad, he had just recently lost his job when I was working for this other construction business, and he's an accountant. So my wheels start spinning. I've already got accounts set up because I'm a sales rep.
Yeah.
So I get talking to my dad, and I talk to him about, hey, you know what? I'm thinking about starting my own business. These are the numbers. This is, about what we can make. What do you think about it? He says, well, I think it's a great idea. Let's do it. So while he was setting everything up, I was still working for the other business. And so when it came down to go in and put in my notice with this other business, and by the way, everybody has to start somewhere, right? So everybody starts from one business to the next, and that's how you start a business. So when I went in and I put in my notice, my boss looked at me, and he pointed his finger at my face, and he says, "You son of a, you know what? I will put you out of business." And I said, "Yeah, we'll see." And so I that was kind of a challenge, right? That was a challenge, and I was like, "All right, I'm up for this challenge."
Heck yeah, man! Holy cow!
So I went to the guys that I was doing business with, and they said, "Yeah, we'll follow you for sure."
Oh, heck yeah! Good for you.
Right. So as soon as I quit, I started the next day with my other business.
Cool.
And got through it. Everything was great. 2008 hit, right?
Oh, you started it right before 2008?
Yeah, 2008 hit. And we all know that valve, the water valve, just shut off overnight. And I remember going from one house to the next because we, measure, get a count of what we need in each house. And I remember walking into these houses thinking, I don't know that I'm going to be back.
Yeah.
I don't know, either the builder's going to be in business or I'm not going to be in business.
Yeah.
And So things were pretty sketchy, and I had to make some decisions back then in 2008. In 2008, I had to make a decision whether I was going to keep my business going or keep my house. And so I made the decision, you know what, there's always a place to live. Let the house go. I got to keep my business going. So I've been through some, I've had my punched in the gut a few times.
Yeah, no kidding.
But so when I started coaching, my first goal in coaching was to make enough income to replace my wife's income so she could be home with the kids. She was working a stressful job at the hospital. She worked in the HR department. She did all the scheduling. And that was my first goal, is to just replace her income. And so about 3 months into coaching, I replaced her income. And that was a fun phone call, dude. My wife called me on the phone at work, and she's complaining about things. And
sure.
I said, you know what, honey? Guess what? She's like, what? I'm like, why don't you go into your boss right now and you tell him that you're done?
Yeah.
She's like, what? I can't do that. Well, she didn't realize how much income I was bringing in with health coaching.
Oh, wow.
And I said, no, this is what I'm making.
Yeah.
Go quit your job. And she hasn't been back to work since. It's just been awesome.
Good for you.
So it's been
Holy
fun.
Cow, man.
Now she works with me, and she does all the payroll with hardware business. And she still works, but of course.
Sure. But it's on her own time.
It's on her own time.
Good for you. Holy cow, man. I think that's the dream, right? And that's such a cool dream as a husband and a father, to be able to tell, your wife, if you don't like it, get out of there then. Yeah. We don't need it.
Yeah. It was definitely a fun conversation, and now we're working together and being able to create time freedom.
Yeah.
Now that's where I'm at with my goals, creating time freedom, being able to come and go and do the things that I want to do.
Yeah.
I love to travel. I love to go.
Yeah.
Like I said, Snowmobile, anything fun, I'm there.
For sure, man. Holy cow. So before all of this, did you think you were going to be in business, like a business owner? Like you wanted to be a therapist, right?
I wanted to do all that. No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
no.
Man,
In
that's
fact,
so crazy.
I college.
Yeah.
I got kicked out of Rick's college.
Back when it was Rick's?
Back when it was Rick's college. Yeah. Got kicked out of there. Went to, I think, 1 year of Weber State.
Okay.
And that was it.
Yeah. And then you're like,
schooling.
I'm going to go.
I'm just going to do my own thing. And like I said, I worked construction where I'd hang off buildings and put on glass on buildings. And
yeah. And then you were just like, man, I think I can sell this.
Yeah.
And I can do a little bit better, and I can health coach, and I can go
I went from one business to the next the next, and finally I was able to create what it is that I want to create.
Yeah. Where did that vision come from?
I think it comes back to the roots of I gotta put it on my parents.
Yeah.
Because the truth is, I was pretty close to my mom.
Yeah.
And she would always tell me, you're going to be something someday. Mm-hmm. And I think the positive encouragement that we can offer our children extends to where and who I am today. So I put that back on my parents.
Yeah.
That, hey, you know what? They did put that in my head that I could be and become anything that I wanted to become.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a lot of truth in that. I think we don't, there's a lot of people who, when they hear that, they go, oh, that could never be me, right? And so I love asking business owners that question, and I'm sure some of my listeners get tired of hearing, like, is this what you always were going to do? Because every time the answer is no. Like, I think there might have been like 1 or 2 times where it's been yes, right? But out of the interviews that I've done, it's usually no. And they're like, I had to figure something out. They got to this point in their life where I I got to figure something out. And you know what? I've heard a few people start before 2008. And I never understood that because I was pretty young when that happened. But I understood it when this pandemic happened. Man, it was nuts. So the faucet turning off. Yeah. Like that analogy is very accurate. Right, yeah. I was in the car industry. I was selling cars. I was a sales manager. And for sure, man, like one weekend we're selling 8-10 cars a day. We got like 30-40 people on our showroom floor consistently. And then like we got 30 30 people on our showroom floor selling 8 cars. And then boom, the next day, nothing. Like it was incredible. I'd never seen something like that in my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And so, yeah, you're like, holy crap.
Right.
What are we going to do?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Oh my goodness, man. So what other things about health coaching get you, fired up?
Yeah, no, great question. So, when you're in the position of coaching, for sure you're leading yourself. You lead with your own health first.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's important. And like I said, I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
Right? People aren't perfect. And so you circle yourself with like-minded people. In fact, I think they're saying, what is the saying, that you circle yourself with 5 people that you want to be like, so that you can become like that, right?
Yeah.
And so I circle myself with people that have same goals, that are striving to be the best that they can be. And I, there's some high achievers that I circle myself around, that there's no way I vision myself with those type of people that are just humble and serving hearts, but they have an income that is incredible.
Yeah.
Right. So going into the income part of things, a lot of people struggle with talking about money.
Yeah.
And what I've learned is you can do a lot more good in the world with money than you can without.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it took me a little bit for me to understand that, because, growing up, you're taught, money is the root of all evil.
Yeah,
all
for
that
sure.
Stuff.
Yeah.
And what people don't realize is it's not the money, it's the people.
Yeah.
How they do
what they
their
do
money
with it. Yeah.
is the root of all evil.
Oh yeah. A lot of people don't.
Right?
Yeah, that's a huge thing too, because people will fight that.
Yeah.
Money doesn't make you happy. Well, like, if you love money, it won't make you happy.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But
Yep.
you can buy a lot of things and help a lot of people with enough money.
Yep. And I have goals. I have goals that I want to do.
Yeah.
Like, one of the things that I wanted to do, and I achieved it. So cool. And I don't even know what the guy did with it.
Yeah.
But honestly, I wanted to just give $100 bill to a guy.
Yeah.
And I didn't know the guy. I just walked up to him, and I knew that he was struggling. I said, "Here."
Yeah.
And that was cool. That was so fun.
Yeah.
To just be able to do that. Or when you're at a restaurant, right?
Yeah.
And you're given, especially right now during the pandemic,
Oh,
it's been really
man.
fun to do. Okay, so I've done this a few times, and I'm not saying this to gloat, right?
Sure.
That's not my intention. But when it comes to tipping, there's been a few times where I've actually tipped just as much as my bill was.
Yeah.
And that's been fun. In fact, I had one guy chase me out of the restaurant and thanked me.
Yeah.
It's just been fun being able to do stuff
Well,
like
and
that, right?
and I totally know where you're coming from. You don't say those things to impress people. You say them to impress upon people the fact that, like, you can do a lot of good things when you can work for yourself, when you can write your own paycheck, and then you can do things like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, but here's why I love those stories. Because a lot of people don't, they just think like people with a lot of money just spend it on themselves. And that I have found that people with a lot of money, that's not the case.
Not the case.
They are extremely big givers.
Right.
And that's where they find a lot of their happiness and what they do with a lot of their money.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And so people don't understand that. They see these, these big guys on TV and they're blowing money or whatever, but they miss the people right next door who have a lot of money, who are like they donate a lot to charities. They pay for people's food, food banks and things like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And so I'm really glad that you brought that up, because a lot of people don't realize that. The people with money, you don't ever see them. Like, they don't look like they have a lot of money.
You don't see the behind doors.
Yeah,
right?
You don't.
And so
good for you.
Yeah, so I'm striving for more of that.
Good.
Right?
Yeah. Right on, man.
Yeah. So,
That's awesome. So what specifically in the health industry, because I can tell you're pretty passionate about that. Not that you're not about your hardware business.
It's all
you know
good.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like, what do you feel like the biggest challenge is in the health coaching industry? Because you got your certificate, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm certified with the Villanova School of Nursing.
Cool.
You know what? I'll tell you the biggest challenge.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, getting in your own way.
Oh, man.
People get in their own way.
Yeah.
And then you start comparing. You start comparing to others.
Yeah.
And comparison is that thief of joy.
Yeah.
And so I think the biggest thing to hurdle is getting over yourself.
Yeah.
And not getting in your own way and not worrying about what people think, because people are going to think it anyways, right? So who cares? You do you.
Can't do it. Can't do anything about it. Can't control it. Well, you know what's so funny about that? Because I've noticed too, like in the health, especially with like people's bodies, everybody's bodies are different, you know? And so you wrestled, I wrestled, I'm from Iowa. I wrestled for like 15 years, man, you know? And then I went to, and then I've done jujitsu, you know, for a really long time. But the one thing I learned from wrestling was like, you can't ever judge somebody on their appearance. You know what I mean? Because like we'd have people, and I've told stories like this before, but I remember learning this lesson at such a young age that you'd see a guy and he'd be like this real big, beefy guy, and he'd be wrestling just like a string bean, you know, and this string bean guy would just put a clinic on this guy. And before the match, you know, you'd be like, oh, this, you know, the beefy guy's going to win, right? And that was not he got handled. This guy handled him. And so that was just one of the craziest lessons that I learned from a really young age. That like, it doesn't matter, like, it does not matter what you look like, you know, it only matters how you take care of yourself. Yeah. And so that's a really important lesson, I'm sure, in the health industry, because people have this image in their head, like they want to be like The Rock or something.
Yeah. And that, you know, that's, you know what, you bring up a good point.
Yeah.
And just because that you're a health coach, right?
Yeah.
People in their mindset think, well, he's got to have a six pack. He's got to be.
Oh yeah. You know, good point.
He's got to be this perfect role model,
right? Yeah.
Come on, no.
Yeah. No. I mean, they're out there, but that's not everybody.
Right? Not everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Just because you're not that.
You don't spend 18 hours in the gym or something.
Doesn't mean that you can't be a good health coach.
Yeah. Well, I met a nutrition coach who, you know, he ran like D&D Fitness. Danny Shelton. Yeah. And he was, you know, he's a big guy, and really cool guy, really nice guy. And he's like, I only do like 4 hours in the gym a week. And he looks good. You know what I mean? Right. And so it just depends. Like, you know, you don't have to, you know, and getting people out of their way in that too, I'm sure is hard. Like, I want to look like The Rock. Well,
there's that,
you know what I mean?
There's that comparison.
Yeah, you can't do that, man. Yeah, I mean, sure, if you want to, but if you want to get healthy, that we can do that first. Get healthy first.
Yeah, for sure.
Holy cow, awesome, man. Well, and dude, people getting in their own way is a big one.
It is.
Gosh, that's so hard.
Yeah. There's a lot of that.
Yeah. It happens to everybody all the time. But have you seen any patterns in the healthcare, or in the health coaching world that would like, that you've been like, hey, I've seen this, I know where you're at, like, this is why.
So when I first started coaching, my coach was like, all right, look, here's the thing. There's going to be a point where you're going to need to market yourself.
Okay.
Right. So I'm marketing myself, but I was afraid to put my fat body out there to the world, because I was afraid what people were going to think.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's where, you know, people are contending with that, and it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to put yourself out there, because here's what I see, and this is what I've learned, is when you put yourself out there, you're inspiring others that are in the same shoes that you're in, and you can help those people come out a little bit and be able to live life again. And I think that's the biggest thing, is just getting out of your own way, because you do, when you're marketing yourself, you're on social media,
you're a little vulnerable,
right?
But vulnerability sells.
Absolutely.
It does,
right?
Man.
It totally does. It totally does.
You
and
know?
So, you know, with me on social media, I live out loud. What you see is what you get.
Yeah.
I'm not a person that's, you know, saying one thing and not doing another. And I always suggest to my clients things that I would do myself. I never ask any of my clients to do anything different than what I would do myself.
Yeah.
So I'm just the real deal. Like, people call me Bob the Builder of People. Like,
Right.
That's just me. What you see is what you get.
Yeah, that's freaking sweet, man. Well, so tell us how, tell us how people can find you, get a hold of you if they want to look this up.
Yeah, for sure. You can find me on Facebook, obviously, Bob Butler. You'll know it's me because I'm sitting in my wife's car.
Yeah.
With white leather seats, and I've got my thumb up. So that's me. You could also go to, I have a Facebook page. It's Getting Healthy with Bob the Builder of People.
Oh, right on.
Right. So I've got some healthy recipes in there, some transformational stories in there as well.
Cool.
But yeah, mostly everything is on Facebook, which is my name.
Yeah, that's good though. I feel like a lot of people will get a lot of value out of this, man, because you're authentic. It's been real, and I think people, well, like we said earlier, right? Like, vulnerability sells. People like that, they're attracted to and that's why I did this whole thing, is to show people like there's real people doing real stuff. Like, you don't have to go pay Weight Watchers or something like that. Right. You can find real people next door doing exactly
for sure. Well, and that's what impressed me, Dalton, to be honest. I mean, what you're offering is value.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to do, is offer value. I'm not here to sell you a single thing. I'm here to offer you value.
Yeah.
And that's, I hear your heart, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
I hear
well,
that.
I've been in sales for a long time, and there's crazy extremes on the sales spectrum. There's the people who are like, quote, like these hard closers. And then there's the people who feel like people are just going to fall into their lap. Money's just going to run into their bank account without anything. But you got to be in the middle, because that's how you said something earlier, like, hey, if the lady said, if it works for you, sweet. If it doesn't, no worries, right?
Exactly.
There's something powerful in that, because I use that all the time. Like, I think a hard lesson in sales is realizing, like, there's some people who, like, you'll never sell to. And just knowing that, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's tough. You
got close the deal.
Yeah. Everybody's going to buy from me. And you got to have the confidence, but you also got to have the pragmatism to be like, look, man, I'm going to succeed in this no matter what. Like, if you buy from me or not, I'm going to make this work.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there, and there's also some psychology behind that as well, but that's how I do it too,
For sure.
You ask them, and if it works, sweet. If it doesn't, no worries. We can still be friends.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Dude,
opinions are opinions, and value is value.
Yeah,
so,
man. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, good. So people can find you there, and I hope they do, and I hope they reach out to you, Bob, because it's been great. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, I appreciate it.